Namaste and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology, debunking mythology. Sattology means science of truth, and opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake, lie, or imagination. So please use the word Sattology for histories of natives, even folklores which are verified through traditions, especially books like Ramayana, Mahabharata, and also the books of Vedas. Very accurate information. Puranas. Puranas are also very authentic, most of them. And mythology word is used for especially for histories that cannot be verified. Like most of the belief-based cultures and one life syndrome philosophies, which are actually not helpful for anybody, creates hopelessness, anxiety, and you cannot build a life on lie or a fake. So I have very special guest today, and we are going to discuss Ramayan. So let us welcome Dr. Rajesh Kumar Singh. Namaste, Rajesh ji.
Namaste Aditya ji, and
Namaste.
namaste to all my learned persons in audience. And as usual, I'll start from my PPT. Uh, I think.
So in this particular presentation, we are going to see how Jatayu fights with Ravan to to protect Sita, isn't it?
Yes, Aditya ji, I mean, that is the popular perception which has been represented through photographs also. And on the screen, you all can see one painting, a very famous painting by Raja Ravi Bama, who was born in Kerala and who stayed in different kingdoms in Kerala, in Mysore, and in Gujarat. He has painted how Ravana is trying to cut the wings and feet of Jatayu. But it's not only about the fight. And this incident happened in Panchavati. And as usual, what I want to emphasize is that the tale of Sita and Ram has great imprint not only on Indian culture but in many parts of the world, and it has some very important value system which Valmiki has highlighted while describing this story. And this story has also a great influence on the Indian art. Now, these are the wall paintings which you can see when I was traveling to a very important place in India, in the state of Bihar, known as Sita Madhi. Sita Madhi is the place where Sita had lived, and there are many temples there. And near a pond on the walls, these paintings are there. And you can see the first one depicts how Sita and Ram are enjoying their sitting, and they are seeing the golden deer, which we have already discussed, and then how Ravana deceives Sita and he tries to evade with her. And then the Jatayu comes and try to rescue Sita. There is another painting from a modern time. Amrita Sergil is the painter here. Some of you must be knowing. And she has painted on paper, gauze paper. Here you can see Sita is sitting in a small chariot, and Jatayu is trying to break the mighty bow of Ravana. And there is another panel which I have depicted on the screen. You can see that there are a series of paintings, and in the middle series, you can see the tales from Ramayana and be depicted. And there are so many temples in Karnataka, in Andhra, where tales of Ramayana have been carved out on the walls of the temple, and which you can still see. And the top picture, enlarged one, you can see that Ravana with 10 head is trying, and here with one head in a cage. He's keeping Sita and he's fighting with a mighty bird who is none other than Jatayu. But this is not only about the fight between two mighty warriors. It is much more about the value system which Jatayu and Ravana depicts And this is very, very emphatically described by Valmiki in Ramayana. And let's see what he writes. Now, when Sita is being abducted by Ravana, she is naturally grief stricken and she is lamenting. And Valmiki says, Karuna vacho bilapanti sudukhita. She is doing bilap. वो बिलाप कर रही है, रो रही है. And when she saw the vulture Jatayu seated on a tree, and suddenly she sees, when Ravana is abducting her, that a mighty Jatayu, she already have met along with her husband and Lakshmana. They all have met Jatayu. And at present, when Ravana is abducting her, she could see him sleeping. So she approaches that. Here Valmiki says, Banaspati gatam gridham dadars. Banaspati means tree पे एक gridh जो है, eagle, mighty eagle is sleeping, and Sita sees there. Now Sita is of course weeping, and she says that, oh Jatayu, this demon, this sinful king of demons is treating me like as I am an orphan, that nobody is there. Though I have everybody in the world, my father, my mother, my father, my in-laws are there, my husband and brother-in-law, they have just gone. But I am like an orphan, Hriyamana Anathvat. I am being taken away like an anath, like an orphan. And at the same time, she tells Jatayu that Ravana is equipped with weapons, and he's not only equipped with weapon, he is riding a chariot, but he is cruel, strong, and evil-minded, and you cannot stop him. Nai savaritum sakyata. You cannot stop him. That's what Sita tells. So Sita knows that Jatayu cannot fight with Ravana. Ravana is relatively quite young. Jatayu is much older. He is not having any weapon with him, while Ravana is well equipped. He had come for this very purpose. So Sita is not asking Jatayu to fight with Ravana. She only requests her to narrate her story and tell all the facts which he sees. So Sita requests him that Ramaya tu yatha tattvam Jatayu haranam mama lakshmanaya cha tat sarvam akhyatyabyam asesata. Asesata means don't leave anything, kuch bhi mat chhodna. You tell everything from the beginning to last, that how Ravana came, how he deceived me, how he cheated me, and where he abducted me and he's taking me. So Sita makes this request, but never asked Jatayu to fight with Ravana. Now, after listening this, Jatayu addresses Ravana and introduces himself. He says that I am the king of vultures. But at the same time, what he says, I am mighty. He tells him that I am quite powerful. I have this power. But what is more important, which I want to emphasize here, is that he says that I am sthito dharme prane. I am an eternal follower of dharma. Dharma here means what is right and what is wrong. I can make a distinction between them, and dharma is to follow the righteous path. So I have always been following the path of dharma. I have been an eternal follower of dharma. Further, I am satya sansaraya. मैं सत्य को follow करता हूं. I am an adherent to truth. I never speak a lie. So you see the difference between the introduction which Ravana has made to Sita. It talks about all things which is related to force. I can lift the earth. I can fight with even the god of death. I have so many wives. I have abducted so many princesses and made them wife. And they are all not related to in any way with the right conduct. But here Jatayu, when he introduces himself, he certainly tells that I am mighty. But more important, what he says is that I am an eternal follower of righteous path, that is dharma. And I always would speak what is correct, what is truth. That is, I am Satya Sansraya. And then he tells Ravana that Rama is the king of entire world. राजा सर्वस्य लोकस्य, वो सभी जनता का राजा है. राम जो है वो सारे जनता के राजा हैं. Rama is the king of the entire world, and at the same time he is ever engaged in the welfare of the entire world, and he takes care of the need of his citizens. That is लोका नाम च हिते युक्ते राम. राम जो है वो हमेशा सदा ही जनता के हित में युक्त है. So see how he is being described. Who is Ram? He tries to tell Ravana. And then he questions that the lady which you want to abduct, or you are abducting from here, is famous Sita, Yasaswini Sita, and she is lawfully married to Ram. ऐसा सीता यशस्विनी लोकनाथ से धर्मपति. ये जो सीता है जिसको आप बलपूर्वक ले जा रहे हो, उस लोकनाथ, वो जनता की जो राजा हैं, उनकी धर्म पत्नी है. धर्म पत्नी मीन्स शी इज लीगली लॉफुली वेडेड टू Rama. And then what is very important, many of you would not be aware, and that's why it is very important to read Valmiki Ramayan. This is the ancient text as far as Rama's tale is concerned. He tells that how one person shall behave to others' wife. And this also reflects the views which we would be discussing here, which Valmiki has described in Ramayana, that what was the thought process in the Indian society at that time. What kind of ideal और आदर्श हमने स्थापित किया था अपने लिए. धर्म में स्थित राजा पर दारान कथम परापिसेत. A king who follows the righteousness, how can he even think of outraging another's wife? जो राजा धर्म पे चलता है वो दूसरे की पत्नी पर दारान, दूसरे की पत्नी पे किस तरीके से व्याभिचार कर सकता है? ये बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न जटायु उनसे पूछता है रावण से. And then he said, "O powerful, you claim to be so powerful, you are powerful, but you must know that a king's wife shall be protected in particular. Though everybody's wife shall be protected, but जो राजा की पत्नी होती है, राजदारा, जो राजा की पत्नी है, वो विशेषण रक्षणीय, उसकी तो विशेष रूप से रक्षा करनी चाहिए." And in the modern context, if you see, those who are holding important posts, their wives shall not be attacked. They shall be, because they represent the whole system of administration. So Ram is who? Ram is king of everybody. He is Loknathasya Raja. And his wife shall be given special protection. And what you are doing is incorrect. So he tells, refrain yourself from the vile thought of violating others' wives. Nicham matim pardhara abhimarsanat nivartaya. अपनी इस नीच बुद्धि से, नीचाम मतिम मीन्स अपनी इस नीच बुद्धि से दूसरे की पत्नी को छूने से निवर्तया, बचो. You avoid that. You shall not indulge in these kind of behavior. And wise men do not adopt what is censored by a tab. And पर अस्य अत्यतः विगरहे ततः धीरा न समाचरेत विपश्चिता. And this has been told. Jatayu tells that this has been already told by the wise men, that others' wives shall be treated as respectfully as you shall treat your own wife. And this has been told by the wise men, and you shall not deviate from that. And that's it. यथा आत्मनः तथा अन्येषां दारा रक्षा. जिस तरीके से जब हमारा विवाह होता है, भारतीय परंपरा में शपथ लेते हैं कि हम अपनी जीवन साथी की रक्षा करेंगे. पति विशेष कर ये रक्षा लेता है. The husband takes an oath that he will always protect his wife. So Jatayu tells Ravana that as you would protect your own wife, you shall protect others' wife rather than bringing any harm to them or abducting them. And then what he has told was for an individual, for a king, he tells that those who are learned, they determine the path of dharma, artha, and kama, and the way a king behaves, even if it's not declared in Shastras, and if a king behaves in a particular way, people would follow that. So since you are king of Lanka, you represent a majority of people, so the way you will behave, जैसा तुम्हारा आचरण होगा, the similar way others would follow. दूसरे भी उसी तरीके से आपको फॉलो करेंगे. तो इसलिए it becomes very important that you be a king, your conduct shall be very right. And he then said, a king is the best repository of righteousness, material, wealth, and pleasures. That how you deal with all these things, जो धर्म, काम और अर्थ जिसकी कामना एक सामान्य मनुष्य करता है अपने जीवन में, a man who desires, as had been provided in our shastras, in our ancient text since then, that a man or woman, when they are existence in the earth, they desire for काम, द्रव्य, अर्थ, so dharma, काम, अर्थ. So a king is the best repository of these things. So the conduct of king shall be so that others shall emulate it and society prospers in a proper way. And he is the root of the dharma, virtue and sin. अगर राजा धर्म करता है, अच्छा करता है, पाप, तो जिस तरीके से राजा व्यवहार करता है वैसे ही अन्य जन करेंगे. तो वाल्मीकि ने ये जो चर्चा है रावण जटायु की या रावण की, इसके तहत एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण संदेश दिया हुआ है. व्यक्ति का आचरण, इस विशेषकर राजा का आचरण कैसा होना चाहिए, एंड स्पेशली टुवर्ड्स द वाइफ ऑफ अदर्स. And then he asked that, why are you doing this? Ram has done no damage to you. Na paradhyati dharmatma katham tasya paradhyasi. Rama has not done any harm to you. He has not gone to attack your kingdom or your city or to you or to your family men. It was only that Supnaka and Khara came here and they troubled Rama, they challenged Rama. So he killed them without any effort. Khardushana, etc. But Rama did not attack anybody on his own, and nor did Lakshmana or Sita had brought any harm to you. So why are you indulging in such a misdeed? ऐसा व्यवहार आप क्यों कर रहे हो? He's asking, कह रामस्य व्यतिक्रमा. What misdeed Rama has done? He has not done anything. So why are you abducting the wife of the Rama? त्वं लोकनाथस्य भार्यां हृत्वा गमिष्यसि. तुम उस लोकनाथ की, जो कि जनता का राजा है, जनता में प्रिय है, सबका ध्यान रखता है, उसकी पत्नी को का हरण करके जाना चाह रहे हो. And then certainly after preaching it, counseling what is right, what is wrong, and reasoning with Ravana, Jatayu tells that you Chipram Visrajya Vaidehi, Turant, leave Vaidehi at once, otherwise you will be burnt. He is cautioning also that दहेत दहन भूतेन, जिस तरीके से इंद्र ने वृत्र को मार दिया था. इंद्र was a king of the kings and he has killed Vritra. So in the same way, when Sita will become angry, just by opening his eye, she can kill you. He cautions that what you are doing is not right and you will have to pay for it. And then he further tells that what you are doing, you cannot bear the fruits of misdeeds. And with an example, he says, one should eat only that wholesome food which can be easily digested. So this work which you are doing, when the fruits will be born, you will not be able to digest it. तो ऐसा काम करने से क्या फायदा? What is the utility of doing this work? यत् कृत्वा न भवेत धर्मः न कीर्तिः न यशो भवि. ना जिससे आपको करने से धर्म का फॉलो हो रहा है, what you are doing is not, you are not following the right path, na it brings fame to you. So what is the utility of doing this work? It will only result in pain, bringing pain to your body. You will be doing a lot of effort, which will finally go in vain, and you will have to bear its consequences. And all this Jatayu says, even though he realizes, he himself is telling Ravana, Briddha aham tvam yuva dhanvi sasarah kavachi rathi. I am old. Briddha aham. मैं वृद्ध हूं, बूढ़ा हूं. तुम युवा, तुम जवान हो, you are young. And you are wielding a dhanvi. You are a dhanvi, you are wielding a bow and arrow. Sashara and kavachi rathi. You are protected with armors and you are riding a chariot. Even then, I will not let you go safe with Vaidehi kidnapped. Tathapi yadai Vaidehim kuslim nagamasyasi. Don't think that I am an old person. I have no weapon to fight with you, but still, I am cautioning you. I am cautioning you that you cannot take Vaidehi by force. न सकता तुम बलातहर तुम वैदेही मम पश्यत. मेरे देखते देखते मम पश्यत, in front of very sight of me, you cannot take away Sita, Vaidehi, with force. In the same way, he says that the importance of the Vedas, what Vedas have revealed, actually they have not been written. We believe that Vedas have been revealed, and this Valmiki also says that they were revealed to the Srishti. So they cannot be taken by mere illogical arguments. So in the same way, you cannot take Sita before my eyes. And he challenges, युद्धस्व यदि सूरो वसी मुहूर्तम तिष्ठ रावण. युद्ध करो मुझसे यदि तुम सूर हो. मुहूर्तम तिष्ठ रावण. If you are brave, if you are sura, then just stay here, stop, don't run away and fight with me. And then I will show you how Khara were killed and they were laid down on the ground. In the same way, I will kill you, and if not me, then Rama will kill you in war. Because he knows that he may not be able to sustain in a fight, Ravana with Ravana, Jatayu himself, but then he cautions that I will fight, but even if you succeed and go away, it doesn't mean that you will be safe. Rama would come and he will kill you. Rama yudhi badhisyati. Ram will kill you in the war. Ram aapko marenge. He's listening this because Ravana, of course, was not heeding to any right counsel. Earlier, Marich had counseled him. Even Sita has argued. And when Jatayu counsels him what is wrong, what is right, doesn't have that effect which it should have on Ravana. And he becomes very angry and his eyes become sanraktanayana, and he pounced upon Jatayu, who just ran towards Jatayu, and they started fighting. Of course, that was a very mighty fight, like two clouds getting engaged with each other, and you have a lot of lightning and great sound. So that's how Valmiki has described. And now you see Ravana starts using all his weapons. He uses different types of weapons, sharp, dreadful saps, spears, which are known as vikernis. So Valmiki has named also. And they pierce Jatayu, but Jatayu very bravely sustain them, and he also attacks Ravana. When she sees that Sita is still weeping, she is not happy. Naturally, he is not happy. So, without having any weapon, he attacks with his feet the bow and arrow of Ravana, and that's beautifully depicted here by a modern painter. Some few decades earlier. And when Ravana sees that Jatayu is also making counter attack, so he becomes Krodh Murchita. क्रोध से आग बबूला हो गया, एकदम गुस्सा हो गया, एकदम overcome with anger, and he took another bow. One bow was destroyed, but he was riding in a chariot, so he took another bow and arrow, and Valmiki says that he rained about hundreds and thousands of arrows. But Jatayu still is fights with, bears all those, and now even suffering with those arrows which have pierced him, he attacks and shatters the chariot. He attacks the asses who were driving the chariot of the Ravana, brings down the chariot after breaking it, pull down the parasol and the fans of the chariot, and he also shatters the head of the charioteer. So you can see that even if Jatayu is old and is not carrying any weapon and has told Ravana what is right and wrong, and Ravana doesn't heed to it, then with all his might, he knows that he may die in the process, but he's not bothering it. He has already told Ravana, and he brings havoc to the Ravana's defense. And that has been very beautifully brought out in one of the photographs. It's a micro painting, you can say, which is kept in Saraswati Mahal Library in Chitra Ramayana, drawn in 17th century. And one of the pictures I have depicted on the screen. And as a result of this massive attack, whereby the chariot was destroyed, so Ravana fell down on the earth. But seeing that in the process, Jatayu, old creature, he also becomes very tired. And seeing this, Ravana then runs away with Sita swiftly. Now Jatayu doesn't lie down, even if he's tired, he runs behind him and again attacks him. And he's still counseling, he's still reasoning. He says, why are you doing this? This will lead to destruction of all your kin and kith. Mitra bandhu samatya saparichada. In the similar way, as a thirsty man drinks water, so you are drinking poison. In fact, you are drinking poison. तो चाहे मित्र हो, बंधु हो, आपके मंत्री हो और परिवार हो, सभी का विनाश कर रहे हो. And you are a fool who do not know the consequences of their action. And what you are doing, not only you will die, but इनाम बधाए खलु रक्षसम, जिसकी रक्षा करने के लिए तुम्हारी जिम्मेदारी है. The very responsibility of you being a king is to protect your family, your citizens, your advisors. You don't know, by this foolish act, you will get them all killed. And Jatayu again attacks Ravana, now from back. And he bites, disheveled his hair, and torment him in different way. And that is very beautifully depicted in one of the Patua paintings, which is done in the Orissa. Here you can see a series of scrolls are there. And here Jatayu is fighting with the Ravana, who is now on the ground. Now Ravana is out of his comfort zone. He is very unhappy. He thinks that how this old creature not only is fighting with me, but keeps on giving foolish advices to me in his understanding. And when Ravana is attacked from the back by Jatayu, he takes out his sword and he fatally injures Jatayu, and by cutting the wings and the feet, and Jatayu in the process falls down on the ground. Almost he is about to dead, And when Sita sees this, she runs towards Jatayu. She has seen in front of him that he was not supposing Jatayu, being an old person and without any weapon, to fight and bring out the supreme sacrifice for us, which Jatayu has already done and is about to die. So दुखिता स्वबंधुम एम अभ्यदावत, जैसे कोई अपने बंधु के लिए, अपने परिवार के लिए उसके प्रति दुखी होता है, वैसे ही सीता, she is so sad, she runs away, abhidhavat, she runs towards Jatayu, and after embracing her, she weeps badly. So this whole story tells that how one, even if he is not in the best of youth, best having best of the weapons, but still one sacrifices one's own life to protect somebody's wife, and in the process he is following the righteous thing. So thank you very much, Aditya ji and all the audience.
Yeah, see the one I'm going to ask you one question here, and that is just give me a second here. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
So one question here: what is the lesson that we learned from this incident? Because see, all these incidents are not only Bhagwan, Bhagwan Ram's bhakt are doing it, and one thing we also notice here is that the devotees or bhakt of Sri Ram, they are taking initiative on their own, and they are not depending on anyone else's guidance, because seva of Bhagwan Ram is done through our personal initiative. So there are many things in this story. So what can the general people learn from this story?
Aditya ji, there are many things that you yourself told. The very first thing is that one shall always try to tread that path which is correct, which has been told by our fathers, and we have already a lot of literature available. Even at the time of the Ramayana, what Jatayu refers to, that what wise man has told that time. So that wise advice we all have inherited, and one has to die. Jatayu also knows that he will die one day, but one shall follow what is correct, what has been told, and it's in the process one would continue to protect what is good for the society.
See, it is very interesting that you bring this point, because here we see that in this incident, Jatayu takes a personal initiative. Number one, Jatayu is protecting Bhagwan Ram's is doing seva to Bhagwan Ram, and also protecting Mother Sita playing on his own life. And the third thing I see here is that the Jatayu is actually setting an example for other bhakta of Sri Ram also, that for the sake of dharma, which is represented by Sri Ram, that we can take voluntary action just to perform because Bhagwan Ram did not ask him, he's doing on his own, everything is on his own. And sometimes we see that people say, how nobody has told me, or how do we take an action, or the new thing has come up is that let's depend on the law enforcement or the police and to seek an action against adharma. But sometimes if you look at the traditional laws of India, Manusmriti, now you see that the people have taken action against adharma on their own, and which has been justified by Manusmriti. But in the new legal systems that we have, now people are powerless. We're virtually in a democracy now. Other than the vote, they have no other power. And I'm not saying that people should indulge in hooliganism or burning properties or any kind of arson. This is definitely adharmic activities. We should not engage in that. But But at the same time, when we see Adharma, if he stays silent, then Jatayu would not have attained the highest perfection of life by getting the favor of Sri Ram. Because ultimately the law or dharma is protected by Sri Ram. So in this today's society where the Vedic uh, tenets have been replaced by modern laws, which are somewhat similar to the laws, but not exactly the same, where it favors the people in power. So what should a common person do by hearing this story?
Aditya, these are two things. The context setting may be different. First thing is that not only Ram was not there, so he would not have in any way have asked Jatayu. But what I have already told, that even Sita, who is suffering, and she, in all the fairness to her, she should have asked Jatayu to protect her. But she understands very well that Jatayu, being an old person, may not be able to fight, and she herself tells that. But Jatayu as an individual takes this call, that what is his duty? What is his duty? Means he is not doing anything wrong in the process. If he is fighting a person who is doing very wrong thing, which he describes in detail also while cautioning Ravana. And Jatayu was also Gridharaj, he was king also. So being king also, it is his duty to see that no wrong is done to anybody till he is alive. So he is setting a very high standard of life. Now coming to contextualize it in modern way, uh, there are different ways one can fight wrongdoings. If an incident happens in front of you, which is not permitted under the law, what Ravana is doing is also not permitted either through ethical law or the code of conduct which a king shall do, which is Jatayu tells. So I don't think that depending on one's own capability and willingness, one shall take that initiative even in modern times, and law would support him. I mean, rather than destroying the public property, if you are fighting the person who is indulging in wrong thing, if you are preventing him or her from doing that, even modern law shall support that.
Like if you look at the American laws and even the Indian laws today, and many of those laws, if you look at it, then the personal initiative is actually supported. It depends on people who takes the initiative, like whether it's American law, Indian law. But the justice system which is today evolved, which needs an advocate for you. Now, advocate means that you cannot fight truth against untruth on your own, even if you know that you have the truth rather than the truth, but you have to depend on somebody's interpretation. So, but in
That is very interesting. That is very interesting. In Indian traditional system, you would never find an advocate
correct,
bringing out. Even in, see, in when you talk about Gupta period, Raja Vikramaditya and others, the person who has suffered and who the one who is accused, they will be brought before the king, and king himself serves like a justice, and he understands, he interprets, he calls for evidence. So the suppose even if it's a poor woman or weaver, it's not that somebody will come and advocate with a very uh, language, in a language which is not understood by those very people. So that I fully agree that this modern system which has brought this system of advocacy, where the very petitions, the very argument in the language, Babo's languages, they are done, they are not understood by the petitioners. So that shall be replaced. That shall be replaced. I fully
it is
agree with that.
it is impractical because the common man is now fighting for justice everywhere in USA also. So many people, they cannot go to the law courts, to the courts, because they cannot, it's too expensive for them. Only
Too
the
expensive.
too expensive.
Too expensive and too rigorous in the process of suffering. You have to go. I mean, logistics and the time which you have to spend. So this is a very important point which you have brought, and I mean, all the countries. I mean, all of us have a duty to see that how. I mean, and we have examples of that. What you said is very right. That in all those tales or the stories, even in front of Rama in Ram Darbar, when this washerman is brought, I mean, he is brought there. Nobody is advocating anything like that.
Nobody.
So that's very true.
And also the system of Vedic justice is so accurate Like there will be fear of punishment for even who is trying to do it, and also because people know that the truth has only one version, and the person against whom the wrong has been done is also is at a much more fearless position because he knows that he's telling the truth. But a person who is trying to obstruct that justice is more fearful. But today it's opposite now with the advocate system. Is the person who is actually doing the wrong is more fearless, and the person who has done no wrong is fearful that what will happen to him. Will he get justice or not? So what it creates is a system where people will avoid these courts from going forward. I was looking at the fees of the lawyers yesterday, Indian lawyers. And American lawyers, they charge you $400 an hour or $500 an hour. These American attorneys charge you. In India, it ranges between 5 lakh rupees or 1 lakh rupees to 1 crore rupees a day. That is the fees of the lawyers if you want to win your case. And these are the, you know, I know there are many ethical advocates there in India, many ethical. I know many of them, and who do it for free for some people, and they don't go by the any kind of financial consideration, and I really respect all of them. But still, the system is flawed because somebody having more money will have this, and this Jatayu incident shows that if there is adharma, you don't need an advocate. It's just a basic thing that you're protecting Mother Sita, and you can give your life. It's the choice of giving a life is yours. Like in such kind of situations, I don't advocate suicide. Also, suicide is for the weak people. So, but by the way, in California, suicide is legal. Don't come to California for suicide. By the way, the family has to bear the cost, but people can give up their life. So but the point is that the justice denied is justice delayed is also justice denied, and justice denied creates more injustice, and which is a problem in most of societies, not just India. It's a problem in countries of Africa which are colonized, where people have to wait for 35 years to 40 years for justice to be delivered. Life is gone. Those people are just working to pay the attorneys. Otherwise, they lose the case. And the land, if they're fighting for it, it's not worth it for fighting the case. People give up after some time. So, so I think this incident is very instructive, so people to take initiative in protecting dharma. But what is your view on if Jatayu is willingly trying to give up his life, and Sita Maya doesn't want him to die because he's old, and at the same time he is trying to please Sri Ram. But what is the mindset of Jatayu here?
The mindset is very clear. Jatayu has no doubt in his mind. He tells what is right and wrong to Ravana, and in the process of protecting that Ravana, he tells that I will not allow you to do this wrong till I am alive. So he is very, very clear, and he would have chosen to just sleep and telling Sita Maya that okay, Mata, what you said is right, perfectly okay. When Ram will come and Ram and Lakshmana will come searching for you, I'll tell about it. But then that's not the right thing. He tells Ravana that you cannot take Sita Maya in front of me till I am alive. So he also tells that I am an eternal follower of the dharma. And in his viewpoint, dharma, what Ravana is doing is not dharma. So he tries to protect the dharma. Of course, in the process, he sets a very, very great example. And he does a service to Sita and Rama, because he believes what he says, that Rama is king of everybody when he takes care of everybody. So I, being here, seeing this misdeed happening, I have to protect Sita and I have to do whatever is right to do for that. And what he also says, that one important point which is very much highlighted, see, long back, how society shall conduct, an individual shall always give the same respect to others' wife. This is very, very important and very, very relevant even in modern days time, when we all go for glamour and we see a lot of things happening. And you'll always see many marriages breaking. So vows, one, there shall be the relation between wife and husband, which is the basic unit. I mean, as far as Indian tradition is there of societal system. So it's very important. He questions the very conduct of the Ravana, and in the process, he emphasizes many times that what conduct one shall have towards others' wife.
Nowadays people are, Lakshman ji, Bhagwan Lakshman never saw the feet of, other than the toes or nails of Sita Maya. He never saw her face. He doesn't know how Sita Maya looks like. And that is true with Bharat and Shatrugna also. Such high respect they were showing to their brothers' wives also. But society, American society is so bad nowadays, is that there's no such boundaries nowadays, which is very unfortunate. And not just American society, it's a problem with the Western Europe as well, Eastern Europe as well, Middle East as well. And looks like the dharma is only safe in India. And that is also changing in the cities, which is unfortunate. To
That is
love,
also changing, and see, we shall not be. That's why I think we need not to be apologetic about these things, because these are time-tested values.
exactly, exactly.
It's not somebody has preached now. I mean, these things are being reiterated by Jatayu, citing something which would have happened long back,
Long
even
back.
at that
True,
time.
true. Even before Ramayana
So,
period, this was the culture. And this was the
yeah, yeah.
predominant culture of the world. I mean, if you go to the villages of Africa or South America, they still practice it. Natives still practice it. But it's not as prevalent because of the movies actually nowadays, movies and TV shows,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
and
true.
which have created it much worse. Anyway, thank you so much, Rajesh Kumarji. And for people who are watching this show, do comment, let us know. And we learned some important lessons today from Ramayan, which we can use in our personal life. And if you want to become Rammay, it begins with Ram, Bhagwan Ram's names, chanting of names of Sri Ram. So thank you so much. Jai Shri Ram and Namaste.
Thank you. Jai Sri Ram.